up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of New Jersey. This is season 14, episode 4. I was about to say 3. 4. Bear with me with the sound again. I'm still waiting on the piece that I ordered from Amazon. But let me tell you this, Amazon. What's the point of me having Prime if it's not going to get here in 2 days? They playing in my face, okay? They told me my piece was going to be here on Sunday. Then on Sunday, they said it's going to be here on Tuesday. Now I'm getting emails it's going to be here today. I don't trust them anymore. The trust is gone, okay? But let's get into this review. Sometimes before we get into it, we get a little spicy, just a little. But I just got one clip for you guys. So y'all know on my last video of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, in the spicy corner, I told y'all Rachel and John was making their rounds, okay? And I don't know if one of the clips I put in there was where Rachel pretty much said that her and Jennifer Fessler are not cool. Like, she's not friends with her. Well, Jennifer Fessler was like, that's news to me because we was cool by the end of the season. Now, the clip I'm going to play for you, it doesn't have that portion in there, but she said that in the same interview. The clip that I'm going to play for you guys that I thought was more important was Jennifer Fessler basically explaining what she meant by that conversation she had with Margaret when she was like, if you're not going to be around Teresa and Louis, I'm not going to be around Teresa and Louis. So let me play that for you.
Off camera where you explicitly said, I'm done with Teresa and Louis. I want nothing to do with them. I will not interact with them, as those words have been put in your mouth.
Right. So, no. What happened was, you saw me saying to Margaret, you know, I told you that if you don't want to be around these people again, neither will I.
You said to me, I'm not going to do this again. I'm never going to see those people again. And I did say to you, then I'm not going to see those people again either. Mm-hmm. I meant it.
What I meant by that was, if you're not going to go back and do the show again, then I'm not going to go back and do the show again. Margaret, as you know, went back and did the show again. And so here I am. I didn't say I would never be around Louis or talk to Louis and Teresa again. But what I did do in the moment when I hear distress in my friend's voice, and also when I'm being told about what's happening, and I'm listening. And by the way, I'm agreeing. And I'm saying that is horrible. You're right. That's disgusting. And meaning it in the moment. Listen, I can listen to Margaret. I can listen to Teresa. And then I can also form my own opinion. You know, I do have my own opinions. For instance, the fact that I do think that Louis called Margaret's son, unfortunately. But I do believe that now.
Were there more conversations?
If Jennifer Fessler is telling the truth, and that, like, you know, when I said what I said, it was pertaining to, like, I thought Margaret was quitting and I was letting her know I will quit too because you brought me on this show, but she decided to do the show, so it is what it is, then I agree with how she's pretty much moving. Like, well, I don't say I totally agree. I ain't gonna say that. But I don't fault her too much. Because if I told you, girl, if you gonna quit, I'm gonna quit with you, and you decide, no, we're staying, then I feel like you can't dictate how I move because now the experience is different. Like, the rules of this situation is different because you chose to go back to this situation and I'm here too. And we also can't act like people want to lose a check. Like, even though Jennifer Fessler is a friend of, they still get paid pretty decent money. Like, are they making what full-time housewives make? Probably not. More than likely not. But I don't think it's a check that's like so like bottom tier that like it'd be like whatever, I don't need it. I think they pretty much make pretty decent money. So I wouldn't want to give up on that either. But it is what it is now. But let's get into this right, y'all. So the episode opens up. We get really cute B-reel footage of like the ladies with their families. We see Teresa, Louis, and Gabriella on their way to Michigan to help her move into her dorm. We also see Jennifer and Olivia preparing for Biscuit's birthday party that they're having later on in the episode. And then we get this scene with Melissa trying to teach Antonia how to wash her clothes, and Antonia being like, what's fabric softener? Which I'm like, Melissa, why did you wait to teach this girl how to wash her own clothes? And maybe that's because like my dad was the one that was responsible for teaching me and my sister how to wash our clothes. And I'm telling y'all, he's very particular about washing clothes. Like, he is very much like, lights go with lights, darks go with darks, and whites go with whites. You know, he is very much like, you don't mix your clothes. I'll never forget, it was like my first time coming back from college freshman year, and like I had a bunch of clothes, and I like separated my whites out of my clothes, but like my coloreds, girl, I just packed them together and shoved them into the washing machine, and you know, did all the stuff, the detergent, fabric softener, scent booster, and everything. And he was moving my clothes to the dryer, and he was like, Leah, what is this? I said, what you mean? He said, why would you mix your clothes like that, baby? And I said, because I don't feel like washing them separately. And he was like, and when they get ruined, you're going to complain about it. I said, you right. I don't care though. Hey, I ain't got time. So I was just like, Melissa. And you know what's crazy? Is there was one girl in my dorm who, she didn't know how to wash her own clothes. And my dorm was an all girls dorm. And she was just washing her clothes with fabric softener, because you know, the Downy bottle, the small bottle, and the Tide bottle, the small one, they're kind of the same like makeup. And I think she thought they were the same thing. And I remember one of her friends in the computer lab having to explain to her. And we was like, yeah, girl, that's basically like washing your clothes without soap and you just spraying perfume on them. Like, you need soap, you need detergent. But I just thought that was funny. So we settle on this scene with Margaret and Joe. And pretty much, they pull up on Joe's bike, and they're at some burger joint, and they sit down. And we could tell Margaret is upset with the Fessler and upset with Jackie. She was like, Jennifer Fessler want to be clicked up with Teresa. She over here defending Teresa, when she basically said that she ain't even want to be around Louis, that she was afraid of him, that she was scared of him. Like, girl, what? And so then you have her also saying that, you know, and Jackie hasn't even given me her book. Jennifer Fessler has read her book, and then she gives it to Melissa. Melissa don't even like to read books. I said, you basically call that lady stupid. Anytime someone was like, you don't read, that's a way to say you're not, intellectually, you're missing things up here. And like, you're not growing. So she basically called that lady stupid. And so she's just really upset. But honestly, I really think that there is way more going on between Jackie and Margaret, because they both are very like short with each other. Like, they're both very like, they keep, even when they have interactions, they keep cutting one another off. Like, they don't want to hear the other party. So I definitely think there's more to that situation than what we're seeing. So they're sitting down, they get their food, and then she, you know, talks about Jackie, talks about Jennifer Fessler, but then she brings up Jan. And y'all know, unfortunately, Margaret's ex-husband Jan passed away. We find more information out that he actually died due to a pulmonary embolism, which scares me, how something so tiny you can lose your life from. So he passed away. She was like, you know, she gets visibly emotional in the confessional, and she was just like, he was supposed to outlive us all. Like, he was the one that was running the marathons, he was the one really taking care of himself, and for him to pass away, it's unfathomable. And so she talks about Jackie again, because she's like, Jackie, you know, she went to the Shiva, she went to the funeral, but she ain't done more than that. She didn't even check up on me and to reach out to me to make sure I'm okay. Like, there's some things missing, there's some things lacking, because now that the funeral's over, I need you more now. And a lot of people have said that, even I included, like, people show up during the funeral time, but then when the funeral is wrapped and it's over, it's like you need people to still make sure you're okay afterwards, to still check up on you and figure out if you're like, you know, if you need a friend at that moment, if you need time, you know, you need more than that. So I get where Margaret is coming from. So she gets emotional. Joe ends up comforting her, basically saying he wished he could help her through this process, but it's something he can't fix, which is true, because grief is something of its own. Like, I ain't gonna lie, randomly you'll be having a good day, and the next thing you know, tears. Like, something, you'll think about something or you'll remember something and it'll just wash over you. And she, you know, tells Joe, when you die, I'll cry about you this way. And Joe was like, I'm not going anywhere. My aunt said I was a devil, and they hug. But I do wonder, like, I do wonder, like, how Joe feels. Like, because, I mean, he can't tell her not to grieve, because she has a right to do that. But I wonder if he kind of feels some type of way that she is so, like, sad. Like, I wonder if he feels like, is this more than just like you grieving your friend that you're losing? Because clearly it seems like Margaret and Jan were able to get past her infidelity. The kids seem to be able to get past her infidelity, and they were able to form and create a relationship where they leaned on each other emotionally. But I'm just wondering, like, if Joe feels like, okay, girl, you doing a lot, you know what I mean? Like, because I think I would allow if I was with somebody, my husband, and he was grieving like his ex-wife or a girlfriend that he still had like a relationship with, like, I would understand. But I do think like a piece of me would be like, well, did you love, like you still in love with them? Like, I think that's where I would be. But again, I don't feel like you can police how someone grieves someone passing away. It's just like, when I watched that scene, I was just like, I wonder how he feels. Like, does he feel kind of funny watching her break down about it? And like, isn't he in the back of his mind being like, does she wish she would have spent the rest of her, like, does she wish she would have never divorced him and stayed with him and worked it out? Like, that, I think that's where my mind would go. I think that's why I'm just wondering if that's how he feels. Talk about Danielle and get her scene out the way. So pretty much they're back home. We find out while at what's her name, Jennifer Aiden's doggy birthday party, that Danielle was in the Dominican Republic with her kids and her husband. And so pretty much like Nate is asking her like, girl, who's all gonna be at the fashion week? Because she's preparing for fashion week. Mind you, them clothes don't give fashion week. It gives very much Walmart, Target, like children's place. But okay, so I'm just saying that because with the title of Bougie Kids, I expect more. But basically, I don't think anybody's coming other than the kids and her husband. Because we find out that Nate's mom, I think she said, doesn't like to travel. The mom is like, her mom, Danielle's mom, is actually like on a cruise. And then she's not speaking to her dad or her brother. And then Nate asks her like, so what do you, like, who do you want to be there? Or like, what is it going to take for you to speak to your dad and figure out the relationship? And she was like, I don't know. Like, it would just come, like, I would need him to like really take my side and be there for me, but it will never be the same because I know he picked his side, meaning her brother. Now, this is my thing with Danielle. I feel like Danielle's not giving us the full story. I really do. Because Danielle's personality that we got last season, and I was here for Danielle's personality last season and kind of here for it too here, but I do feel like Danielle be ready to fight with people. She's the type of person that's ready to fight. And she also does what Teresa and Joe do, where they hold on to things. And I bet you that's the same way her and her brother are. They hold on to things. And then when a situation happens, they either hurl out those insults that they've been holding on to about another situation into this situation, or they just let things fester and we have this situation. Because I really do feel like it's more to it because of the way that brother returned that gift for her, I think the niece or the nephew, the new baby in their family. So that to me is a huge statement. Like, I've only known one person in my family to like do that, and they have not spoken to that person since then. Like, they were like, I don't want that person nowhere near my child, nowhere near my family. I don't want nothing from them. So I really do feel like doing something like that says a statement, and I feel like it has to be more to it than this whole Instagram situation. I feel like y'all probably done did some things to each other or said some things to each other that y'all haven't been able to come back from or actually talk through it because y'all have the same personality. We have this scene with Jennifer Fessler and Rachel finally meeting up to talk about what happened at Joe's birthday party. We find out that they did not speak to each other after the party like that. Like, they really didn't debrief about the argument that they had. They just kind of like let it go. So they meet up at this cute little brunch spot in wherever they are, and Jennifer Fessler is like trying to put her best foot forward, where she's like, let's share a meal together, or like, let's share food. Because when they first met last season, she was like, I don't share food. It's nothing against you. I don't share food. Because I think Rachel wanted to share like a pizza, and she was like, nah. But she's like, hey, we can share. So Rachel's like, oh, okay. She's on the same page as me. So while they are there, Jennifer Fez was like, let's get to it. And so Rachel's like, okay, all right, Fezzy, let's do it. So girl, Rachel gets emotional immediately. Like tears, like I just like, you know, like it's just because I feel like you're being friends with someone who's trying to hurt my family. And Fezzer is just looking at her like, okay, girl. And she's just like, what's up with you, Rachel? So then Fezler is like, I'm not understanding why Rachel is behaving this way, because Rachel is 32 years old. Like, we just met last year. I understand, but like, you're like, she doing a lot, you know? So then Jennifer Fessler is like, I'm not like Margaret. I don't draw blood that quickly. I want to talk things out. So when I went and talked to Teresa, I think I did what I was supposed to do, which was advocate for you guys. And so they do the flashback where she's like, you know, John and Rachel feel like you were calling him a drug dealer now. And Teresa's like, no, I meant past tense, but now he's like a great father, a great businessman. I was like trying to say like we have mirroring experiences. So then then Jennifer Fess was like, I felt like that was a win, because she pretty much was like, she didn't mean it that way and we could move like forward. And Rachel was like, what you deem a win, me and my husband think is BS. And so Jennifer Fessler is just kind of like, oh, okay. So then she's like, so you just don't want me to talk to Teresa about you or about the situation between John and Louis? And Rachel's like, yeah, because that's I feel like is a men's thing. They need to talk about it. And so Jennifer Fessler's like, okay, but she's like, but Rachel, these emotions you have, and like what's really good? And then Jennifer Fess was like, yeah, like when we became friends, we kind of really clicked. Like I was at your holiday party and they show pictures of them at Christmas together. She was like, my kids love you. And she was like, I love them too. But she was like, I'm like you when it comes to friendships. Like, you know, I don't have a lot of friends, but the friends I do have, I hold on to them dearly. And she's just like, you mean a lot to me. And I hope you know, like, my heart isn't like malicious. Like, that's not what it is. So they are able to like move forward from it. She then ends up asking Rachel like, hey, are you going to Jennifer's dog party? And Rachel's like, no. She's like, I think me and Jennifer are in a good place, but I don't want to be around Teresa. And she's like, okay. And then in the confessional, Jennifer Fessler is like, girl, I'm so happy she not going, because the truth of the matter is Rachel could say she don't have an issue with me and Teresa being cool or forming a friendship, but she has an issue with me and Teresa forming a friendship. And I said, yes, you do. Yes, you do. So they were able to hug. And here's my thing about the situation. Again, I understand why John and Rachel don't like Teresa. If I was them, I wouldn't like Teresa either. But I feel as though the way that they're going about it, it's annoying. And it makes you kind of like be like, I don't care, you know? I don't know. I think that for me specifically, that's how I feel. Like I told y'all, I'm not a tree hugger. I'm not a gorget. All right. But I'm just kind of like, they both keep saying like, John is like, well, if someone keeps coming at you, you know, you got to defend yourself. And I'm like, yeah. And then you got Rachel being like, she's attacking my family. And I'm like, what has Teresa said that was attacking your family? Like legit, other than the comment at the beginning of this season where she said your husband was the biggest drug dealer in Bergen County. Other than that, what else has Teresa said that is like attacking your family? Or what else has Louis done? Like, don't get me wrong, I do think Louis hiring the PI, that's a violation. Like, you're new to this group. Why are you digging up dirt on people, trying to be prepared for them just in case? But it's like, I haven't seen Louis throw that out. The person that I've seen that was really out here like throwing dirt on their names was the baby mama. And that's because she felt some type of way about how they spoke about the relationship between Rachel and the baby and the oldest, which is the oldest, I think the son, Jaden. So I'm just like, if anybody who was trying to ruin your family or destroy your husband's character, it was her. But we have yet to really hear Teresa really disparage Rachel and John that way, other than this whole situation about, you know, the drug dealer situation like that. I don't get it. I don't get it at this, because I feel like we're holding on to something that we don't need to hold on to. We're holding on to like a verbal argument that wasn't that deep, because we've seen them say much worse to each other. For Rachel to be this, like, I don't want to be in her presence. Like, I just don't get the divide at this point. Get this cute scene of Joe and Melissa moving Antonia into her dorm room. We find out that she's rooming with like one of her childhood best friends. Hopefully they still friends, because y'all know how they always tell you don't move in with your best friends. When they opened up their dorm, I was like, oh my gosh, it looks just like how my dorm was, except we had carpet. I think they had like tile on the floor, but we had carpet, and like our closets were not faced like the long way. They were pushed up against the wall. And I was just like, ugh, them rooms be so tiny. So much happens in those dorm rooms. But it was a sweet scene. Joe was kind of like shocked that he found out that the dorm was co-ed. And he kept telling the boys that were helping Antonia and them move in, being like, she don't like boys. I was like, leave that girl alone. Okay, leave that girl alone. But I think what really got me was the last scene of like them dropping her off. Like they were about to get in the car and drive off. And Melissa was like, you really want to stay here? And you heard the crack in her voice. And Antonia's like, yeah, we just moved in, and her friend was waiting for her. And then you have Joe being like, he starts crying, and they all do like a family hug, and then Melissa is like dabbing her face, like trying to keep it together. And then she started crying in the confessional, and she was just like, I'm with her father. She could come back home. She just needs to come back home. But it was a sweet scene. But I mean, I really do feel like if you get your kids all the way to college, you did what you were supposed to do. If they were able to leave college and either go to like a trade school, community college, or get like a job in the field that they want to be in, or you got them into college, like that's your job, is to help set them up for like the longest phase of their life, which is adulthood. So I think they did a good job on Antonia. I thought it was really cute, the same way I thought the montage of Gabriella was really cute, where you see them when they're kids all the way until they're adults, well, young adults. But it's just like they really are like lucky that they kind of have like a time capsule of like when like from season 1, well, from Melissa and them, season 2 all the way to 14, and the rest 1 to 14. Like that's a big deal, because some people really don't have that. So I just thought it was a sweet scene. Biscuit's birthday party, it was stupid, but I miss these days when it comes to Real Housewives, where they used to have pointless parties for no reason. It was just like, we having a party just because we want to have a party. I miss those days. So they're all the dogs are there. They all had them do fashion shows. We see Olivia. We see Gia. Gia's there. She brung her boyfriend. They've been together for 5 years. I was irritated with production asking her, like, are y'all trying to get married? I said, she's 23. 5 years? That means they've only been together for like since they were like 18. Her brain ain't even fully developed, okay? Ask her when she's like 27 or 26. Let that girl live. But she was saying how they just got off like a vacation or a cruise. But he's cute. So they're at the party. They're sitting down. Everyone's like, where's Danielle? And that's when we find out she's in the Dominican Republic with, her family. So then we see everyone's there. We see Jackie. We see Jennifer Fessler. We see Dolores pull up. We see Teresa. We see Gia. And then we see this lady named, I think they called her like Lena or Linda. I think it was Lena. Dolores feels like she's in the Twilight Zone when it comes to Teresa and Jackie, because she's like, what is going on? Because Jackie and Teresa are pretty much kind of singing each other's praises. And Dolores was like, y'all wanted to claw each other's faces off. When this happen? When did this happen? And Jackie is just saying she's glad that they were able to move forward and things are different. So I don't know what's different. Some people feel like Jackie's only doing this so she can keep be on the show more. I don't know. Maybe she really want to be friends with Teresa, because it seemed like it. So they're sitting at the table, and pretty much Jennifer Aiden, girl, I goes for you, Jennifer, but this is so messy, and this is what you did last season with Melissa, and you doing it again with Danielle. So pretty much Linda is there to basically talk bad about Danielle, and she basically said that, there was this huge VIP party that was for charity. And Danielle reached out to Dolores, Teresa, and Jennifer, and they were like, yeah, you want to do this? Like, I'm down for you. Like, I'm down for you. So they both advertised it, and they had the charity event. They ended up having VIP sections for everybody. Well, Danielle needed, I guess, her hair done, and Linda basically said, oh, I got you. Come to the shop, come to the salon. I'll do it for you free of charge. You know, I'm Teresa. We found out that she's Teresa's hairdresser. So she's like, you're friends with Teresa. I got you. So they go to the party. Everyone has on like these VIP bracelets where a waitress comes and tells Linda she got to get the stepping. And so she's like, well, no, I'm here with everybody else. Like, I'm cool with everybody else. I'm with Danielle. So I guess the waitress goes over to Danielle and pretty much it basically tells Danielle what Linda said. And Danielle pretty much tells Linda, like, you got to go. Like, the waitress basically kicks Linda out of the VIP section. And Linda's like, I'm confused. Like, I just did your hair like a couple of hours ago. Like, why can't I be in VIP? Now, y'all know in my last Spicy Corner, we talked about that lady saying that she did a service for Danielle and she didn't pay her. But it seems like this is something Danielle does, because Jennifer Aiden says she hasn't been liking the way Danielle has been moving. Now, what I will say, Jennifer, is if you're going to be messy like this means when you get confronted on episode 5, you need to stand in it. Don't backpedal like you did with Melissa and that whole situation. Like, you brought this lady to be messy because you didn't want it to come from you, which it probably would have been more well received if it came from you. But you brought Linda there to be messy. You brought her there to be messy. So when you get confronted about your mess, stand in it. Stand in it. So pretty much Jennifer Aiden says she called Danielle and was like, girl, what was that? And Danielle was like, I want no parts of it. I want no parts of it. Which I can hear her saying that. She was like, it's about charity. And I'm like, yeah, but if the girl did your hair, if Linda is telling, or Linda or Lena is telling the truth about doing Danielle's hair, then why couldn't she be in VIP? And the fact that you didn't want to talk it out on the phone with Jennifer Aiden makes me feel like you knew you was wrong for kicking that lady out. Because what was the reason? Like, did y'all really have that many people there at the charity event? But it is messy. And you could tell Dolores didn't want to be there for the mess, because her eyes got big and she didn't say nothing. So next thing you know, I think Jennifer said she was going to talk to Danielle about it now that, like, it's been spoken about. But she was like, I reached out to everybody. I even invited Margaret because I didn't want her to feel no type of way, because we know Margaret got dogs and stuff. And then Teresa's like, who was Joe Benigno going to bring? Margaret or a dog? Like, what kind of dog was he going to bring? Basically calling that lady a dog. I said, ooh. When I tell you, I let out the biggest ooh. Because I think she said something to the effect that, like, who was Joe Benigno going to bring? Margaret? Basically referring to that lady as a dog. And I said, dang, Teresa. And mind you, everybody at the table was shocked. Like, Jennifer Fessler's face was like, and then you got Jackie smiling like, And then Dolores didn't say nothing. Neither did Jennifer. Jennifer was like, oh. But the thing about it is, and like one of my mutuals said, what's her name? Jennifer Fessler did not tell Teresa she was wrong for that. And I said she didn't, but neither did her good girlfriend, which is supposed to be Dolores. Dolores' mouth was mute. Neither one of them said anything. And Jackie, who's supposed to be somewhat cool with Margaret, it was like everybody at the table, look around, everybody on mute. Like, nobody knew what to say. Everybody was just like, you ain't call that lady. You just did not call that lady a dog. And Teresa just sat there smiling like, and I did. Who gonna check me? Who gonna check me, boo? Not y'all. Y'all know, for the past like 3 seasons, they always do this charity baseball game that Dolores throws. And it seems like each season, the amount of participants or people willing to watch them play baseball goes up. And I think this season, she said they have 4,000 people coming. And they said that they're playing in honor of Gertie. And if you watch Real Housewives of Miami, last season, she revealed that she had cancer. And she's currently in remission. But we find out that Gertie and Dolores are actually friends. She even had like a picture of her face on like a a shirt with her picture on it, and then she also had her like name on the back of it. And Gertie was touched. She even posted it on her Instagram. So basically, everyone's getting to the baseball field and all that stuff. They're down in the locker rooms, and they always have their really cute jerseys. And we see an interaction between Danielle, Jackie, and Margaret. And I think Margaret and Danielle might have got there before Jackie. And no, I think Margaret did get there before Jackie and her husband. So they come in, Jackie greets Danielle and Jackie greets Margaret. And then Margaret does this to her hand to basically alert Danielle to ask about the party. She was like, even this one went, and she pointing, I think she did this, but I think she was pointing towards Jackie about going to Jennifer's birthday party for Biscuit. And so Jackie's like, yeah, I went. Me and Jennifer are friends. We've been friends since 2018. And Danielle said, when? And even Margaret made a face like, girl, what? When have y'all been friends? And she was like, yeah, we've been cool since then. So then, what's her name? Jennifer comes by. She walks by because she's now down there. And Jennifer's like, I didn't tell you that we were cool. Like, and she was like, no. And Danielle in her confessional was like, that's what y'all do. Like, y'all don't tell me now. You didn't tell me about Melissa already knowing the rumors about the whole cheating thing. And now you don't tell me you friends with Jackie. And so Jackie is just looking at her like, what's it to you? And she was like, well, we're friends. And she said, well, you saying no. So she was like, no, I think Danielle said, well, we're all friends. And Jackie was like, no, we're not, because you didn't invite me to the event. And she was just kind of like, Danielle was like, oh, and she couldn't say nothing because I was like, yeah, you can't call somebody your friend and then exclude them, which I mean is your right. Like, if you didn't want the lady at the party, you didn't have to have her be there, but don't be in my face being like, oh, we friends and I don't get invited. So, Jennifer is like, yeah, we cool now. Like, we been cool. Like, we're good, girl. We're good. There's no, like, we good. So then Danielle's just looking like she don't like what she's seeing. And so then Margaret interjects and been like, well, you ain't been that nice to Danielle. So why would you think she'd invite you to the party? So then Jackie is like, you know what, Margaret, you never take my side. And then Margaret responds is like, well, Jackie, you've never done anything for me. And Jackie's like, what do you mean by that, Margaret? And then Margaret's like, did you know that it was Jan's anniversary of like his death? And she was like, no. She was like, did you post about it? She was like, no, I didn't need to post about it because Jennifer Fessler, Dolores, and Rachel and Melissa, they all checked up on me, and you so self-absorbed, you didn't even do anything of that after all the things I've done to help you. So then Jackie is like, are you trying to say you're the reason I got a book deal? And Margaret she didn't say anything. She was like, well, and then they start going back and forth about the book, where Margaret was like, you still haven't given me the book, like, but you giving it to everybody else. You gave it to Jennifer Fessler, you gave it to Melissa. So then Jackie's response to that is like, well, my publicist gave out the book to people who were going to read it and review it or talk and have discussions with me. She was like, Jennifer Fessler read it like 6 months ago before I even I guess put it out there. So she was like, what are you talking about? She was like, even my mom hasn't read the book. And then Margaret was like, that figures, like kind of saying like, yeah, you don't have a good relationship with your mama, so why would she read the book? So then Jackie's like, hold up, Margaret, don't go there with me. Like, I can talk trash about my mama, but not you. I said, okay. So then Margaret's like, I'm not talking trash about your mother, Jackie. And she's just kind of like, you are. And but don't go there with me. So then Margaret's like, I don't want to go there with you, Jackie. I don't want to go there with you. And so then Jackie in her confessional is like, she was like, writing my book really gave me the confidence I never thought I had. And she's like, I'm starting to realize that being around Margaret, I kind of put myself in a lackey position, like I was a part of her entourage, and now I don't feel the need to do that or be around her in that way. So she's like, at this point, it's like, you don't need my book, Margaret. And I said, well, And I'm not a writer, but I would think that maybe talking about what she spoke about in the book, which it was about her eating disorder and body image issues, she probably took a lot of time to like self-reflect, and maybe it made her realize like, girl, I'm not weak. I'm strong, that I'm still here, that I'm working on eating better and not, and like working through my disorder. I don't really need to be around Margaret, or I don't need to have Margaret, because she said Margaret's not the center of my world anymore. So I guess she felt like she had to do that to keep her friends. And I have heard that a lot of people that do have eating disorders are very like insecure about their positions in their friends groups, and maybe she felt that way. But so she's just kind of like, girl, it ain't that deep. So then she was like, Margaret's like, well, you haven't called me, you haven't reached out. And she's like, okay. So then next thing you know, Margaret's like, I'm not gonna do this with you, Jackie, I'm not gonna do this. And then Jackie's like, then don't do it, because ain't nobody asking you to do it. I said, Margaret, why you getting eat up? Margaret is getting ate up by the friends of a little bit. They nibbling on her right now, because when Jennifer Fessler told her last episode, I'm not your soldier, Margaret did not have a response to that. She was like, and then now you got Jackie being like, no one's telling you to do it, so don't do it. And Margaret really was like, oh, I said, Margaret, get your troops in line. You got to get your troops in line. Jackie walks away after telling Margaret, don't do it. Like, no one's asking you to do it, so don't do it. Then you got Jennifer being like, girl, where the popcorn? Because this was not on my bingo card for Margaret and Jackie to be fighting. And I'm not even going to lie, I would have been sitting there too like, girl, what is this about? Because there's definitely more going on, because they were both too quick to have beef with each other. And I feel like Margaret was wrong when she jumped into the conversation between Jackie and Danielle, because when Jackie tried to do the same thing with Jennifer Fessler at the pool, like at Joe's pool party, Margaret basically told her to cut it and to stop trying to defend it. So it's like, if you don't want to hear me speak when I'm trying to help a situation or trying to interject in a situation, then don't interject in mine. Like, you be quiet and let me figure this out with Danielle. So I feel like she was wrong, because you can't tell someone to shut up and then not think they ain't gonna tell you to shut up, but you're doing the same thing you didn't like them doing last episode. So Margaret ends up saying she's disappointed or like either disgusted in Jackie's behavior. She says she's self-centered. And then Jackie's like, okay, Margaret, I see what you're doing. And then Margaret leaves. And I said, well now. So they're playing the baseball game. Everybody gets there. It was kind of like somber, because we see Louie and Teresa get there. And before they went out onto the field to play the game, we end up seeing Joe and Melissa come in with their youngest son, and he immediately walks over to Teresa, gives her a big hug. He sees Gia, gives her a big hug. And I'm just like, honestly, the people that are suffering are the kids, because I bet you they feel super loyal to their parents, but still might slightly love and care about their aunt or uncle. Just mess. And they were shady for putting their jerseys next to each other, because you see Gorga and I don't know what last name, how to pronounce Louis' last name, I think it starts with an R, sitting right beside each other. So they're playing the game. I think they end up winning. We see this interaction between Jackie, I think it's Jackie, Jennifer, Teresa, and Danielle. No, Jackie, Jennifer, Teresa, and what's her name? Jennifer Fessler, where Jennifer Aiden is like, girl, what was that between you and Margaret? And everybody's like, y'all got into it. Y'all got into it. And Margaret can hear them talking about it while they're on the field, and she's getting irritated. So then she tells Jennifer Fessler to come here, and she's like, this is who you want to be friends with? This is who you want to associate yourself with Fessler? And Jennifer Fessler's looking at Margaret like, yeah, like, I'm cool with them. Like, she been cool with me. Like, it ain't that deep for me anymore, bro. Like, it's deep for you, but it's not that deep for me. And I feel like they're too old to be like policing people's feelings. Like, again, I get why Margaret don't want to be cool with Teresa. I get why Rachel don't want to be cool with Teresa. I get why Melissa don't want to be cool with Teresa. But if you didn't want to be cool with her, then I feel like y'all shouldn't have signed up on the show. And same with Teresa. If you weren't going to interact with other parts of your cast, which are your co-workers, then don't be on this show. You can't police how everybody else is feeling, creating this huge divide, and forcing people to pick a side when at the end of the day, y'all are getting paid to film scenes together. So film the scenes together and interact and stop being scary. So we end up seeing Bill go talk to Joe Giudice. No, not Joe Gorga. And it rubs Jennifer the wrong way. And I understand, like, you're my husband. Stop trying to be cool with them people. But basically, she tells Bill, I feel like you're basically siding with them. And he's like, no, we just cordial. We just cool. And she's like, well, it makes me feel like you don't have my back. And I feel like Jennifer has always felt that with Bill. And I thought he was getting better. But I don't fault him for still talking to Joe because it wasn't really deep, but I can understand Jennifer feeling some type of way. So then Melissa goes over there to talk to Jennifer and be like, hey, we need to have a conversation. I said, okay, finally, somebody's doing their job. Melissa pulls Jennifer to the side and she's just like, she's like, me and you need to have a conversation. She was like, I feel like we're not meshing because you have loyalty to certain people in this group, i.e. Teresa. And Melissa even said earlier in the episode, she feels like Jennifer's looking for reasons to like be mad at her so she could be cool with Teresa. But Jennifer ends up being like, yeah, we can meet up. She was like, Melissa was like, maybe if we have a conversation and we could just say we hate each other and move forward, or you hate me and move forward. And Jennifer agreed. She was like, we could say those things to each other and move on. But then she ends up saying, you can come to my house. Joe doesn't have to be there. And Jennifer's like, yeah, I'm not comfortable being around Joe. And I'm like, I'm so irritated. They have yet to talk about what happened at BravoCon when Joe got mad aggressive with her. And I'm just kind of like, I'm glad she stood her ground and was like, I don't want to be in the house with you or your husband. Like, it could be me and you, but I don't want your husband around. And I said, I wouldn't want him around either. So they're going to have a conversation with each other. And I said, finally, we're going to talk. So it ends, the game ends. I think I think they win. So yeah, it was cute. It was cute for what it was. Let me check my notes if there's anything else. So yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in them comments below and give me your thoughts. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.